Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Got a new Cyber Dragon video for you guys today. So, real quick, I just want to point this out. Guys, my Cyber Dragon videos up to this point have been test videos. Testing, trying new things, trying to innovate on the deck so we could take it to the next level. My last video got some really negative comments when I was trying out the Dominus traps. Those traps are really powerful, and I wanted to see if we could still play with them. And I get it, it didn't work out, but man, y'all need to chill. Regardless, we're here to try out another new build. I like this one because it's kind of like the build that I was originally doing, where I had the big combo that we were building the deck around. It plays a very similar combo with a little bit of a different end board, and honestly it's a little degenerate. And that might be kind of good. So we're gonna talk about the differences, and then we're gonna go jump into some gameplay that I had recorded for you guys. So if you guys enjoy this kind of video, drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's jump in and let's talk about it. All right, so you can already see from the extra deck that this build is weird. It also plays a couple cards in the main deck that are surprising. It plays one glorious brick. One. This card is completely dead anytime, and we never want to see it because we want to be able to play it from deck. And that is Yugioh. So, a couple things with this build. We took out Heals Farog with the Mechanical Dawn. We took out Fusion Substitute. We're not going to be using that skill of Jormungandr anymore. And we replaced it with Gale Dogora, which for anybody that doesn't know what Gale Dogora does, it's literally you pay 3,000 life points and you send one monster from your extra deck to the graveyard. There's a reason we're playing this specifically. We're playing Shaddoll Schism. And right there, that should tell you some of what we're going for. Then we play this cool ass trap monster I didn't know about, Angel Statue Azarun. For anybody that doesn't know what this card does, special summon this card as an effect monster, Fairy Light level 4, attack 1800 attack, 1800 defense. This is also treated as a trap card. Once per turn, when your opponent would special summon a monster or monsters, while this card is in your monster zone, you can send to the graveyard one continuous trap in your monster zone that was special summoned from the spell and trap zone. Negate the summon, and if you do, destroy that monster. When this card in the monster zone is destroyed by battle, you can destroy the monster that destroyed this card. So it can obviously send itself. Oh, Schism for anybody that doesn't know. During the main phase, you can fusion summon one Shaddoll fusion monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials mentioned on it from your field or graveyard, but it cannot attack directly. Then you can send one to the graveyard, one monster your opponent controls, the same attribute as the fusion summon monster. That second part doesn't matter so much. Let's talk about the extra deck, because we've got some weird ones. All right, so we're gonna go from the Link monsters first. So first off, obviously we only have one Clockwork Knight because we had to make space, because we're playing IP Masquerena. If you guys saw my big combo, there's almost no room to play IP Masquerena because there's never a point where you have two non-Link monsters you don't mind getting rid of. But when you see this new combo and what it can do, you will understand it very quickly. Same with Silhouette Rabbit. This card is getting a lot of attention because of the new Odeon support. But this is going to get us into our one trap monster, which is an interruption in and of itself. If this card battles a monster, neither can be destroyed by battle. You can only use each of the following effects of Silhouette Rabbit once per turn. If this card is link summoned, you can set one continuous trap card from your deck with the effect that special summons itself as a monster. Also, this card cannot be used as link material this turn. If a card in the spell and trap zone is special summoned to the monster zone, except that you can target one spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy it. That second part don't matter, it's just against the trap monster. Also, for anybody that doesn't know what IP Masquerena does, my bad, I should have talked about this first. During your opponent's main phase, you can quick effect immediately after this effect resolves, link summon one link monster using materials you control, including this card. You can only use the effect of IP Masquerena once per turn. A link monster that use this card as a material cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Sorry, I had to run through that real quick. Another new addition, Gigantic Sprite. So Cyber Dragon Core is a level 2. This is also the reason we're playing Gale Dogora. So what Gigantic Sprite does, for this card's XYZ summon, you can treat link 2 monsters you control as level 2 monsters for the material. The original attack of this card that has a fusion, synchro, XYZ, or link monster as a material becomes doubled. Okay, that don't matter. What matters is the last part. During your main phase, you can activate this effect. Detach one material from a monster you control. It could be anything. And if you do, special summon one level 2 monster from your deck. Also, neither players can special summon monsters for the rest of turn, except level, rank, or link 2 monsters. You can only use this effect of Gigantic Sprite once per turn. And then the last part is the Shaddoll package. So we got El Shaddoll Winda, and El Shaddai Abkalone. Abkalone, we only care about one effect, so I'm only going to read the one effect. If this card is sent to graveyard, you could add one Shaddai card from your deck or graveyard to your hand and then discard a card. This gets us into Schism. And then Winda, this is one of the only floodgates that's still legal, but must be fusion summoned, cannot be destroyed by opponent's card effects. Each player can only special summon monsters once per turn while this card is face up on the field. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one Shaddai spell or trap card, add it to your hand. From your graveyard, add it to your hand. So, the big combo for this deck leaves us on like 4 or 5 interruptions and a Winda. That sounds crazy. It's degenerate. Wait till you see this gameplay. Anyway, guys, this is the deck. This is the build we're testing out. Let's go see how it did. All right, guys. So this is post gameplay. I've already recorded this. Honestly, I said it in my last video, getting Yu-Gi-Oh recordings is a little bit harder than Cardfight Vanguard. That's why I'm not doing it live, because a lot of people will leave, you'll lose the rock, paper, scissors, and you can't really do the combos you want to do to show off. To really maximize on this, we want to go first, so I'm showing you what we have going first. Also, you'll get to see how similar this combo is to our own. All right, so we summon Core. Core gets us. We're not grabbing Cyber Dark Realm because we already have it, so we're grabbing Overflow. I did add Overflow to the deck as another search card going first if we have multiple starters. Now we go into Realm. Realm activates, getting us our Cyber Dark Chimera. Same normal way we would start. Normal summon the Chimera with the additional normal summon of Cyber Dark Realm. This is where things get a little different though. So now we're going to link into Clockwork Knight, but instead of sending the Core, which we would normally do, we're sending the Chimera. I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. Now Clockwork Knight sends Realm, gets us Clockwork Knight. Chimera goes off, sending Cyber Dark Worm to the grave. Or we already have Worm, so we don't need to do that, so we're just dumping a card we don't want to see later. And then we add Clockwork Knight to hand. Now we're going to use Worm's effect. We would use this from the graveyard or the hand. We're going to send Hertz, special summon the Worm, and then Hertz is going to go off. We also add back a Cyber Spell Trap, I forget. I always forget that does that from the grave. And then Hertz is going to get us OG Cyber Dragon. We want OG Cyber Dragon. Now, last time we needed that for the Yugioh Farog play, but watch what we're going to do here. It's cool. Now we're going to use Clockwork Knight's skill effect. Sorry, Vanguard talk. We're going to send the Core to grave. The big thing is we need the Core in grave here. This is why we didn't link the Core away before. We wanted to. The reason we linked away the Chimera first was to get the dump to grave, because if we didn't have Worm, that's how we would get Worm to the grave. And then we want to get the Core to stay in grave because of how the combo ends up playing out. Remember, Cores are level 2, so start thinking about where we're going, see if you can figure out the combo before we get there. But we ditched the Clockwork Knight, we grabbed the Power Bond. We still have 5 other cards in hand. Clockwork Knight. This time we're going to discard the OG Cyber Dragon. This is going to get us into Theron King Regulus. Now I'm double checking my grave because I want to make sure I have the materials to do what I'm going to do while leaving the Core in the grave. So we're going to Power Bond here. Normally I would summon Theron King on the old combo. I would summon it here. But we're going to send Cyber Dragon and Hertz. We're going to banish them, and we're going to summon Chimera Tech Rampage Dragon. Now we're going to use Rampage's effects. We're going to dump 2 machines. We're going to dump Hertz now for later plays, and we're going to dump Naxter. Same reason. Obviously, we're not getting any effects now, but now we're going to use Theron King, so now we have our Negate Lab, and we're going to attach Hertz. My OG Cyber Dragon players, you know why we did that. This way, next turn, if Hertz gets sent, we can add a Cyber Dragon monster from our grave so we can get back cards like Naxter. So bam, bam. Now we go into our overlay plays. Overlay into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Wow, Cyber Dragon Nova first. I said that. Then we detach, we special summon specifically the Core because this is our level 2. This is where we're gonna go into the new plays. And then of course, now we overlay into Infinity. I meant to say Nova first. So now we have our 2 Omni Negates. Notice that we have not gone into SP Little Knight yet. So now we're going to link our Clockwork Knight and our Chimera into Silhouette Rabbit. Silhouette Rabbit's going to get us our continuous trap card. Our trap monster. Sets as Rune. And now remember that's a link 2 and we have a level 2 monster on the board, so Gigantic Sprite is live. So we overlay into Gigantic Sprite. Now we use Gigantic Sprite's effect. Gigantic Sprite's effect, we're gonna attach from Gigantic Sprite. We're gonna summon Gale Dogora. Gale Dogора's effect goes off, pay 3,000 life points. I know, we're losing 5,100 life points, by the end of this turn, but now we're basically locked in. Because now we're going to send Abcalone. Abcalone's going to go off. It's going to add us Shadal Schism. And then we're going to discard Cyberdark Realm since we don't need it anymore. And this way we can keep all the rest of our other crazy-ass cards in our hand right now. And now we have our two other monsters. And now, since we have no more links, we can link them into IP Masquerader. So now we have an IP Masquerader live, so we can go into SP Little Knight on our opponent's turn. So if you look, we have 1, 2, 3. You can use both of our SP Little Knight's effects on in one turn, right? So that's four interruptions right there. 5 if you count the continuous monster, the trap monster. The Wind of Floodgate, and we have Cybernetic Overflow that we searched at the beginning of turn. So that's what, that's like 7 interruptions on a Floodgate, or 6 interruptions on a Floodgate. Oh, and then we have an Ash in hand, of course. Can't forget that. So now our opponent has to play through this, and I don't know if they realize that we're going for a window. So they play Mimigol. They use Mimigol's effect. Her effect special summons her in defense mode to your opponent's side of the board. So of course we're gonna chain to that. We're going to activate Shadal Schism. We're going to use the effect, and then we're going to chain to the effect to get out another special summon. So the trap monster counts as a special summon. We don't want to take away from our special summon for a turn, because once Window's out, we only get 1. So we chain the trap card to our own trap card. Our opponent had something to respond with. They chose not to respond. So we end up activating the other trap card. Chain resolves. Bam, we get our trap monster. Shadal Schism resolves. We get Winda, getting rid of Abcalone and Gigantic. Bam, Winda's here. And then they special summon the Mimigol, and now they're locked out of special summons for the rest of the turn. And we have used none of our interruptions. None. Now there was a little glitch here. Not necessarily a glitch, but I think it has like auto chaining, like Master Duel, where if you don't have manual, you don't get to activate stuff per phase, because they set 3. They set 1 monster and 3 back row. I was going to chain Overflow on the end phase. Like it gives me the option when they end main phase, but it didn't give me the option in end phase, which is weird, because otherwise I would have popped it back row too. But we draw into another Ash. That's fine. Our board's already established, so we activate Overflow. Remember, Overflow doesn't target, so if your opponent wants to respond to it, they have to respond to it right away. They activate all out attack, which was weird because all it does is when a monster special summon, it changes to attack mode. This I did have to respond to. They use Book of Eclipse. I know you can't see it. Give it a second. And we have Ash, so I just used Ash and saved it on all my other negates. So no Book of Eclipse. And then since he already used 2 cards, I use Overflow to hit his other 2 cards. I switch my trap monster to attack mode, because it is still an 18k body. Let's double check what I can special summon. Nothing. I end up flipping up his monster. I was like, it's another 100. But I was also like, I could just absorb it with Infinity on the end phase. So I was cool with it. When it's flipped, it actually switches to the other controller. So he gets his monster back. And then we just absorb it anyway. And then we swing with everything. And if you look at though Winda cannot attack directly. If you see the damage, 800, 36, 46, 54... 81, so that right there was an OTK without having to play any other cards. So like I said, kind of degenerate. So we won that game. Let's move on to the next game. So this is another one we went first, and this time we're starting off with the Cyber Dark. Oh no, we had emergency. This combo can be done from Cyber Dark Realm and Claw, just like our last combo with Heals for Rug, where we would go Power Bond and then we would use Cyberlord Fusion to get a second Rampage Dragon to then go into Infinity. The plays end up being basically the same. We just don't do the Jormungandr part of it. We do end up keeping the core on the board, all that. So now we get core. Normal summon core. Here we get hit by an effect veiler. I do like that alternate art, but we have another starter in hand, so we just are able to continue our plays. Realm. So here we would have needed 2 hand traps to 100% stop us. And even if they had hit us with a hand trap, we would have ended up just getting Clockwork Knight and still summoning Regulus with our trap face down. So even a suboptimal board, we still would have had something, you know what I mean? But now we go into the same exact combo, link into Clockwork Knight. This time we're using Clockwork Knight's effect to get Clockwork Knight, and then we're also using Cyberdark Chimera's effect to send Cyberdark Worm to the grave. Boop. Boop. Now we use Cyberdark Worm from the grave. So now you get to see everything coming from the deck. I added back Emergency because Emergency will get us more stuff we can actually use on the following turn. Whereas once we use the 1 Cyberdark realm, we really don't want to see it again for the rest of the game. Alright. Hertz gets us OG Cyber Dragon. Now, we're still going to go Chimera. We do something a little different here because we end up using Clockwork Knight as a floodgate, because Clockwork Knight is a really, really powerful card. Send the core to grave, and now we're going to activate Chimera, but this time we end up discarding Cyber Load Fusion because we don't really need it. We summon Chimera, and this time we use Chimera's effect, and we discard the Cyber Emergency that we just added. It was a toss-up between Emergency and Cyber Load. The way I saw it with Cyber Load is that if we banish our stuff, Cyber Load can get some of our stuff back, so I was like, maybe we better off keeping Cyber Load. We get our Power Bond. Now, normally we would use Clockwork Knight here, discarding the Cyber Dragon, but guess what? Because of Cyber Dark Chimera's effect, we can fuse from hand anyway, so we could just send the Cyber Dragon to grave. So we play our Power Bond, we send Cyber Dragon and Hertz. Sure, it is there's an extra card out of hand, but our combo still gets to go uninterrupted. Chimera. And we can go straight into Therion King. We don't have to use Chimera's Chimera. We don't have to use Rampage's effect first. Because Cyber Dragon goes from hand to grave instead of getting banished. But now we can dump whatever we want to see next turn. I could have waited until I had Hertz in grave, but it's fine. We got rid of Jormungandr because Jormungandr's dead right now since we already used OG Cyber Dragon. But now we're going to overlay into Nova. Nova's effect to get back core like we did last time. Get rid of the Rampage, get the core. And we're still going to follow the same line of play even though we're not going to get our trap from deck. Because we're going to still go into the gigantic sprite play. So we still get Infinity, bang. We're going to overlay into Silhouette Rabbit. We don't get any skill, which does suck, but it's fine. Then we're going to overlay into Gigantic. Boop, boop. We're going to use Gigantic to get Gale Dogora. Now, Gale Dogora is the only card we don't want to see, like, ever in our hand. Because, well, you'll see in the next one, because I have one game where we don't get to use it. But now Gale Dogora, bang. Remember, this is after getting hand trapped. Gonna send Abcalone. Abcalone's effect's gonna go off. We're gonna get Schism, and we're gonna discard Cyberload Fusion here. It's a good card, but it's the least needed out of everything else we have. And then, of course, IP Masquerena to finish off. Boop, boop, boop. And then we're going to activate Clockwork Knight and set 2. Now, this game got a little toxic. A little toxic. So, as you see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 interruptions. Plus our double floodgates. So our opponent plays Impermanence. I decided to negate the Impermanence because that doesn't just get rid of 1 interruption, that gets rid of 2. So I was like, that's worth saving. So we use Infinity first. Bang. And then we actually chain our trap card to get our trap monster out. So now that effect is live, as well as IP Masquerade if I want to use that as material. Or I could also use Infinity as material at this point. We're playing against canines, and they're basically revealing a level 5 to special summon a level 5. He reveals 2 level 5s and then special summons himself. And of course, since he's special summoning, we're going to chain Schism, which is going to burn up his 1 special summon. Because now we're going to get the window. Getting rid of Abcalone and Gigantic Sprite again. Summoning the window, and now this is his 1 special summon for turn. Now look at this comment section. If I can't enjoy the game, neither will you. Now, I didn't know what he meant by that. So I was like, huh? And he didn't like that answer. He didn't like that answer. You got to play the game, but now I can't. Why have this in casual? A Cyber Dragon deck in casual? Oh my god. And I just said, I'm testing the new Cyber Dragon support. If you think you're so good, go to competitive. I didn't even know there was a competitive. I'll probably do that from now on for testing. And I was like, I don't think I'm good. I just was just trying new things. He's like, dude, I can't fucking play. Shouldn't have wasted the imperm. So you get your little test, but I lose any chance of playing for fun. This guy was extremely spiteful. And yeah, this black screen, I cut out a bunch of footage here because he had me wait 15 minutes until his timer ran out. You see the timer up top before he finally left. Thankfully, I was playing video games on the side, so I just let him wait. I was like, let him stew in his anger. But obviously, we won that game too. Locked him out of being able to play the game. Now this game, I wanted to make sure I threw this in here because this lets us use the same combo. But as you see, we opened up the cards we don't want to see here. So we opened up Gale Dogra and Shaddoll Schism, which are the 2 biggest bricks in the deck. Shaddoll Schism's a little bit less of a brick because if we open up Shaddoll Schism but don't open up Dogra, we can still do the whole combo because that gets us our Abcalone into grave. But opening up both shuts down that part of the combo, which does kind of suck. But see, we started rewinding real quick. We start off with Realm. Realm gets us Chimera. Chimera, use the extra normal summon Chimera. This is where we go into the same exact combo here. Well, the Cyber Dark version of the combo. Now we go into Clockwork Knight, and Chimera. Get Worm, get Clockwork Knight the spell. Ditch the Worm. Now we use the Worm skill. Bang. We're gonna dump Cyber Dragon Core. Summon the Worm. Worm's effect, add back a spell or trap. We'll add back the Realm. Now we're gonna do Clockwork Knight. Clockwork Knight's gonna send the Worm to summon back the Chimera. Bang. Now Chimera's effect, discarding the Clockwork Knight to get Power Bond. Double check what's in the grave, because now we're going to Power Bond. We're going to banish the Core and the Hurts. I'm sorry, the Core and the Worm. Now, I know what you're saying. You just banished the Core. I thought the whole point was keeping Core on the board. Watch, because now we're going to activate Rampage effect. Now we're going to activate Clockwork Knight to get our negate. Bam, Clockwork Knight, discarding the Realm that we added back to hand, get our Regulus. Then we're going to activate Rampage Dragon. The reason we're doing this order, you'll see in a second. We're going to send Hurts and Core. This is going to get us our Core, because we haven't sent Hurts yet, so that adds Core back to hand. Bang. And now we're going to summon Regulus, attaching the Hurts, so that way we have follow-up for next turn. Well, if we end up using that negate. Now we're going to normal summon the Core. We already have Cyberload Fusion, so we're going to grab Overflow here, because our turn 1's basically already set. So here's where the combo gets a little bit weird. So if you guys remember the old combo, we would have linked into, we wouldn't have summoned the hurt, we wouldn't have attached the hurts to Therion King. We would have summoned SP Little Knight to banish it, and then we would have played Cyberlord Fusion to send the core that's banished and the hurts to make another rampage. But watch what we do here. This is cool. Also, we're already protected from any other interruptions because we have the Therion King, like a nib. All right, so now we're gonna send. Remember, Cyberlord Fusion is field and bind, so we send both cores back to deck. So now we have no cores in the grave, but we can still use our second rampage to dump another card. So we're gonna just dump another core, and we're gonna dump Naxter in case we want to get it with the hurts later. So now we have cores set up in the grave. So guess what? Into Nova we go. And then Nova, detach, special summon a level 2 from the drop. The grave. Sorry, Vanguard talk. Bam, get core back, and now you see where we're going here. Because now we're gonna go into Infinity, link into Silhouette Rabbit, bang bang, and now we get our we can actually get our trap card because we don't have it this time. Then into Gigantic Sprite. Detaching core to set up for next turn because we can get it back with hurts. Summon core from deck. So this is what we're doing differently because we have Gale Dogra. We cannot do this part of the combo, like I said. So we're summoning core so we can still get into our IP Masquerena plays because we can remember we can only summon level 2s and link 2s here because we use Gigantic Sprite. So we're gonna have most of our setup. We just won't have the Floodgate. Thinking about it, I mean, I ended up setting Shell Schism. I could have kept it in hand for later discard fodder, but the way I think about it is we're having our setup now. As long as we make it through our opponent's next turn, we can get Window on the following turn. We do have a Droll and Lockbird as well, which is awesome. We have a Droll and Lockbird plus 5 negates. Well, 5 interruptions, I mean. 6 interruptions if you count the Cybernetic Overflow. So we're playing into E-Heroes. They drop Stratos. Stratos is good card. So we start off by activating Azure Rune. So when they use an effect that would plus summon, we can pop it off. Bang. Not bad. They get their search. They summon Ferris. Well, they add Ferris. We're chilling. We're activating Droll and Lockbird now since they added a card to hand. That's why we let it go. Now they summon Ferris. Discarding a card. I'm like, you know what? Let them have it. I'm still a little confused about how this card works because this is an effect to special summon a monster, but it's not triggering the card. So guys, let me know how if this trap card might literally just be to use as IP Masquerena fodder, which is fine, but otherwise, how would that effect work? Unless it has to be a different continuous trap. It doesn't say other, that's why I thought I could use itself. But let me know down in the comments if you guys know. So he's using Ferris, and I'm like, all right, do your thing. He's gonna put increase into the spell and trap zone. Now, we respond to that. Goes to use increase effect, gets rid of Ferris to be able to summon the increase. So we activate Cybernetic Overflow, getting rid of a core and Naxter to get rid of Stratos and increase. So he has no monsters on the board. And then they try to use Evil Assault. And once I read what it did, I was like, you know what? Nah. So we hit that with Infinity. That still leaves us with Therion King's Negate, IP Masquerena into SP Little Knight, both of them. And our opponent ends up quitting there. And you guys can see, even without the Floodgate, we still had plenty of interruptions, plenty of points of interaction. And I mean, we did have a Droll and Lockbird too, so I mean, you can take that with a grain of salt, but I thought we did okay. Now, this game, I wanted to point this out. This one, we're going second. I wanted to throw this in here so you guys can see that even with this build, Without that combo, you could still do plenty. We're going second, so we don't need to have our whole board set up. We're going for the kill. And look at our hand. 4 hand traps and a starter. That is all we need. Our opponent goes for Foolish Burial. We hit that with the Ash. And our opponent ends turn. That was it. Like I said, we still had 3 other hand traps, and those are not sleeper hand traps. But watch what we do, even going second. Even through this, look what he does. What an asshole. This guy's an asshole right here. Double Foolos. Double. I didn't even know you could use 2 in the same turn. So now every time we summon from extra deck or deck, he draws 2 cards. That's annoying. We use Cyber Dark Realm to get into Chimera. We're trying to kill our opponent as fast as possible without playing as few cards from our extra deck as possible, because we do not want our opponent to be able to respond here. So we go into Clockwork Knight. We had to get the Chimera to grave to be able to get the worm. So he draws 2 cards here, and then we use both Clockwork Knight and Chimera. Chimera to get... I should have done that the other way, because we have trap cards to discard for Chimera. I should have made sure Chimera was going first and chain blocked with Clockwork Knight. Slight misplay. But now we go into Worm, and we end up sending from deck the Hurts, get the Worm. Worm's effect gets us back our Cyber Dark Realm. Hurts effect gets us OG Cyber Dragon. Right now we're gathering fusion material because our opponent has cards in hand, but they have nothing on their board. We're going for the kill. And now look how well established we are, because now we're gonna get rid of Worm. We're gonna get Chimera back. We've only done 1 summon from the extra deck so far, so he's only gotten to draw twice. Getting rid of Clockwork Knight, get our Power Bond. Clockwork Knight, discarding OG Cyber Dragon, grabbing Therion King Regulus. We want to get Regulus out, so if he draws into any hand traps, he cannot stop our Rampage. So we go to summon Therion King Regulus. Attach Cyber Dragon, though probably would have been better to attach Hurts, but we're getting rid of Cyber Dragon, so we don't have anything in the grave to summon. Power Bond. But now we're gonna send cards. We could have added back. So regardless, I should have attached Hurts there. That would have been the proper play. So we get rid of Hurts, we get rid of Worm. He gets to draw another 2 cards, so we summon from our extra deck again. Now we Rampage. I could have drolled him at the beginning of turn, but that would have stopped me from adding cards to hand too, so that's why I didn't do it. And now we go to Battle Phase and we just kill him. The only thing he could have had was maybe an Imperm or an Ash, but we had Therion King Regulus to negate it, so we would have killed him no matter what. But that's all the games I had for you guys. Let's go look at the deck one more time. All right, guys, here's the build one more time. You got to see the degeneracy of us locking our opponent out of the game. Even without the Floodgate, we still set up a pretty hefty amount of interruptions. I was trying messing with it again. Instead of having the Winda and the Ab Cologne, I was just had you know, random other stuff, and in the deck I had taken out Schism and put in a Sprite Jet and Sprite Smashers as another form of interruption. But I think that gives us a little bit of flexibility to try and mess with some other things. I thought the combo was really neat. The only downside I'm having, again, opening up Gale Dogora and Schism. I mean, come on, what are the chances of that? But obviously we never want to open up Gale Dogora. The only big thing I'm really worried about, as far as this deck goes, this build, with the Heals for Rog combo line, we have, I guess, less interruptions, but we have a much more consistent turn 2 going first, because it gets us back our Power Bond as well as a bunch of fusion materials, and it draws us more cards. So we end up not only having a bunch of back row that we can set, our 4 to 5 interruptions, plus we have follow-up to kill our opponent on the following turn. If our board gets broken here, it felt, granted, breaking that board was going to be very difficult, especially if we get the full setup with the Winda, but it felt like if my board was 100% broken, I wasn't sure how I was going to come back from that because of how big the engine kind of was. But let me know your guys' thoughts on the build. Let me know how you guys felt about the gameplay and the testing. If you guys want to check me out on social media, those links will be down below. I did want to add this. I did not originate this combo. This came from Yugioh Tube. I'm going to link his video down in the description. I just took it and modified it a little bit to fit my style a little bit more. You know, a little more aggressive, a little more expansive, a little more flexible with some... So, because he played a couple cards I didn't really like, and I just took those out in room of cards that I do prefer. If you guys want to see me play some Yu-Gi-Oh live, let me know. I will be having a Yu-Gi-Oh stream soon, so keep an eye on the channel or over on my Twitter for when I announce that. That's going to be it from me, guys, and I'll catch you on the next video. Later.
See it in my eyes, I was born for this. I got demons on my side, you ain't high like this. I got reason to believe, I don't need it from my gifts. Only I can change the world, let it go like this.